Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. I'm Melissa Lampignano with Jacksonville Business Connections. We're serving the North Florida community, and we've been connecting with the community for over 8 years now. We do approximately 20 to 30 community events every year. We have an online business directory with over 200 North Florida businesses that advertise in that, and we just love and enjoy interviewing local and businesses all over the US. And we love giving them a platform to share and spread awareness about their products and services. And it's really, once you're an entrepreneur, it's really fun to hear how other entrepreneurs get their start. So today I'm excited to announce we have with us Erin Hunsader, owner of Penbird Press Publishing. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we're excited to hear how you started your business journey and how you kind of got started in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, thanks, Melissa. Thanks for having me. And I know we were just talking about the weather. I'm in Wisconsin. It's so hot here right now, and should just probably cooler in Florida. Um, yeah, I'm really excited. We just launched the website. Literally, just launched the website, hit publish, and it's out in the world. But yeah, I'm an author who has a heart for writers. I think that publishing is it's so overwhelming. I think when you write a book and you go to try to figure out how to publish it, and we have all these options now to self-publish. So I just kind of been going through the process of publishing my first book. I wondered about all these things, and I kind of really decided after going through the publishing process, I thought, man, I'd really like to help writers not only like make it a little easier for writers to get their work published, but also give them a little more creative control. And I also love like what you were just saying about sharing entrepreneur stories. I feel the same way with just hearing people's stories in general. I am what I'm most excited about with this company is getting to hear people's stories and hopefully, getting to, we really kind of our mission at Penbird Press is to publish really unbelievable stories. And a lot of, true stories. We have memoirs coming up, and that's what we're really excited about. And that's how it all started.
That's awesome. And I know that when we first started talking, you had already written your first book. Tell us a little bit more
Yeah.
about what that's about.
Yeah, that it's called Dorothy Never Got Down Like This. It's it's a funny memoir. I compare myself to Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, and it's about my move from a tiny little town in Wisconsin, Appleton, to the Big Apple. And it's funny, and I like the tagline says, you can follow me as I stumble my way through the city that never sleeps, and all the detours in between. But essentially was following my dream to move to New York City and to try to be a writer on Broadway. And I think for anyone chasing a dream, I think it's a great story. But that was my first book. I'm working on my second one right now. And so hopefully that will be finished next year. So plugging away. But I'm also excited. We have a memoir coming up by, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Melissa.
Oh no, I was just gonna say what the next book, what idea is that?
Oh, it's well, I'm writing it under my pseudonym, Josie Zader, and it's called Thoughts of a Character Stuck in a Romance Novel. And it is really, if you're a fan of Hallmark movies, this kind of, I mean, I think we're all, secretly, a lot of us are fans of Hallmark movies, but we make fun of the tropes and the all of the things that we see in those movies. So this is a woman who's essentially a writer living in New York City and was brought up in the foster care system, and has really insulated herself and is kind of separated herself from life, really. And so she ends up through the magic of fiction, she ends up getting a romance novel, and we hear her thoughts all the way through, and as she pokes fun of these tropes and things like that. But the catchphrase is, you're cheering for the annoyingly happy ending all the way throughout. So that is what that book is about. That's coming up hopefully in fall. Fall 2022, and then we have another memoir coming up as well. So yeah.
That's awesome. And that's exciting. And so for people who have a book idea or maybe just started writing out ideas or an outline for a book and they really don't know where to go and if they contact you, how do you go about that process with them?
That is a great question. I'm so glad you asked that. We want them to contact us. So they could email penbirdpress@gmail.com and it'll come right to me directly. We have we're small but mighty. We have a small team of editors and illustrators, and we're going to be, looking for stories for the coming years. So I have on our website, we have submission guidelines. So you can go in and look at kind of what we're looking for in terms of submission guidelines. But also, if you are a writer who maybe a book or you're thinking of developing a book, we are going to have workshops to help with development. We also have a process where we could work with you directly on developing your book. So there's different steps depending on what you're looking for and what you want to go through in terms of publishing. So, and also we'll have workshops in the future on self-publishing and going through a publisher and how to get a publisher. If you look at our submission guidelines and you think, well, this is sci-fi, this maybe isn't right for Penbird Press, that's okay. We want to help people get their work out there regardless of the genre. So we'll have workshops in the future. And we have some workshops coming up for kids next week. And throughout the summer, we're going to have workshops, and we'll be advertising those on our website and on Facebook.
And what's the upcoming kids workshop?
That's the upcoming kids workshop. I did this back in March and it went so well. I was so surprised. I did it on Zoom, but it's called Writing Your Heroes. And it is essentially a workshop for kids. We get together on Zoom. We talk about the characteristics of heroes, what we look for in a hero. And then we do a series of writing exercises to help sort of develop and get that hero on paper. And it actually ends up being really fun. They start formulating these ideas and talking about it. And the last one was a blast. So I'm excited to teach it again. And that one is actually next Wednesday.
Oh, wow. That's coming up.
Yeah. Coming up soon. So
and what age range is that one for?
I think between 9 and 14 is a really good age range. That's what we did last time. And it was a really nice mix of kids. Yeah, it's really fun.
Now, is that a one-time thing or is it over multiple days?
That is a one workshop. It's just in the afternoon for an hour and a half. But I think in the future, we'll probably offer classes and other workshops, and we might have a series of workshops coming up at the end of summer.
Oh, perfect. So if anybody wants to find out more about the workshops, they can go to your website or they can go to your Facebook page, and all the information is there.
For sure, yes. Or if you have any questions, just email us. Like I said, it'll come right to me and I can respond to you directly too.
That's awesome. And what has been your favorite thing about being a business owner?
Well, actually, I have two favorite things. One of them is how much I've learned. I think I've learned a lot. I've been researching this and working on it for the last 2 years, and I've learned so much. But I think most of all, what has been my favorite part is getting to meet all these wonderful people and hear stories. I think, I will have no shortage of books to publish just from hearing people's stories. That's my favorite thing. I love. I'm actually reading a book right now by Chip Gaines called No Pain, No Gains, and it's about networking. But he talks so much about how he's that kind of person. He just loves to meet someone and hear their story. And that's hopefully what Penbird Press, again, that's our mission. We want to bring writers and readers together like long lost friends. That's one of our taglines. So just sharing people's stories and help bring people together through our stories. It's making that connection.
Right. And then also, if someone works with you, is that how they can have their book put on your website for sale too?
Yes. So depending on the process, so if you submit something to our submission guidelines and we think, oh, that'd be a great fit for Penbird Press, we'd work on that, and then we would work with you through until the publishing is finished. Or if you'd like to go through an editing process with us from start to finish, we have wonderful professional editors who are working with writers. They're writers themselves, so they also understand, the critique process and what that feels like. And then we would work with the person all the way through until the end. And we don't really have an age limit on that. We have a writer coming up. She's 18 years old. She wrote her first book when she was 17. She's a great writer. She's writing young adult science fiction, and we're real excited. We're going to have her book up on the website probably next summer.
Wow.
So we don't have any range. Yeah, she's amazing. Her name's Lexi Jordan. So we're real excited to work with her.
And what about, for example, my mother has written a kid's book years ago, but it was just like her drawing out the images, but they're still really cool. And, she wrote the story. So what if it was something like that where she would need everything illustrated and, someone to kind of hold her hand through the whole process? Is that for somebody like her?
Yeah. Pink, right? That's her title, right? I think.
I was actually thinking of the Cubby Grubby, and it was, I forget what the other bear's name, Cubby Grubby and Scrubby or something like that.
I'm excited to read that. Well, that's a great question. And I think part of what I learned in trying to get my own work published is that very often the writer doesn't get to meet the illustrator. That's pretty common with publishing companies. And I think that was something for me that I thought, well, if at all possible that I could change that, I'd like to. So I have an illustrator who does a lot of sketch work. So I think she would probably look at something like what Colleen's doing, and I would want them to work together, closely together, to develop that. I think the writer should be able to help, to give input and to help see that work develop. And it's also about finding the right illustrator. That's something in the future. I know I'll probably need a few more illustrators depending on, if they're a good fit for the book. Right. Same with editors. It's kind of like dating, you have to click. So, right. Yeah.
On average, how long is the process to get a book published?
Oh, I'm really glad you asked that. This is okay. So it actually takes a lot longer than people think. I would say a year to a year and a half. So we're starting 3 books on our website, and we have Lexi's, which is a 4th. And then I have other ideas that are kind of in the works, but it does take, so for anyone interested in the publishing process, just keep that in mind. It does take time. And right now I won't really be working on any other books until next year. So it does, but it's a great time to start working with us and editing what you have or starting to write something, right. For future. So it is right. Good to know that it does take time.
Perfect. That's awesome to hear.
Good question too. Really.
Oh, you're welcome. Is there anything that maybe I didn't touch on that you would like to share with everyone?
Yeah, I think we would just like this also to be a website where people can engage. So sharing what you're reading for the summer, sharing what you'd like to see in books. We want people to sort of, I have a blog that we're working on and a podcast, these workshops. So we just want it to be a place where people can kind of come and hang out and talk with each other. And we'll have probably some virtual space for book clubs in the future. And nice. All these things we're developing. So I think more than a publishing company, we want it to be a website where people can come and hang out and chat about what they're reading and what they'd like to see, writers they like, all of that. So right. Follow us and we'll, we'll have more of that to come.
And so when you were probably going through the process the first time before you decided, hey, I want to do this to help other people, I'm sure there was different obstacles you had to overcome. If you could pick one kind of golden nugget of like, oh, I wish I knew that before I did it, what would that one kind of gold nugget be to someone else who's going to go through the process?
Yeah, that's a really good question too. I'm going to be honest. I think writers, this is another reason why I wanted to start this company. Writers have to be their best advocate. So it is best if you research any publisher you're interested in going with. But also, once you get that contract in hand, take it to an attorney and make sure it's, go through it with a fine-tooth comb. Because there used to be a time, I think, in the country, like if we think of, this is not books but Broadway, but if we think of like the golden age of musicals, these writers were so well known and so revered. We've kind of moved away from that. Like I see like writing jobs posted and they're like, volunteer copywriter. I mean, writing has sort of lost its, I don't know, I feel like it's sort of lost its value. And without writers, there is no story. So just as writers, I think know as much as you can know about the publishing industry and always be protecting your work, because that's really important. That's what I learned, really.
Right. That's awesome. No, I think that's great advice. That's exciting. And, we hopefully every time you have a book release, when it's ready to be sold, we'll have you come back on and we'll, specifically touch on that book and share it with everyone. And we definitely love supporting businesses and entrepreneurs.
Well, I just have to give you a shout out because you helped me so much to get our website up and going. So thank you so much. We just so appreciate it. I couldn't have done it without you. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I totally forgot to plug myself for the website, but that's okay. Yeah. But well, thank you. Hopefully lots of people watch this and come visit your website and hit you up for your services. And thank you for joining us today.
Thanks so much, Melissa. Great to see you. And thanks everyone for watching.
Yes, thank you so much. See you soon.
Thanks so much. Take care.